Okay.
All right, let's go. All right, guys. While we get this in on YouTube, welcome to Boundaries and Brotherhood podcast with your host, Gordon Watt, and my co host.
This is Dr. Keith Fairclough.
And today's topic, guys, is going to be becoming the 11th man. Oh, let me put this. And this is where, you know, this is where we're going to figure out what it is to becoming the 11th man. We have a video that we're going to do a reactionary to. And Doc, take it away while I start setting this all up.
So we're talking about the 11th man. I guess I got to just giving you guys a preview on that, like what we're talking about when it comes to that, right? So we're going to go over a clip. And we're essentially talking about the guy who's confident, right? Long story short, the guy who gets the girl. Not that this is a dating podcast or anything like that, but like essentially that's what this is about. The guy that gets the girl. What is it about that 11th man, right? Where he's able to get the girl by doing what we instinctively think would not get the girl, right? Not recognizing the actual things that are being picked up in these situations. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. But
So let me ask you this one question. Where did you come up? Where did you find that video to make it because it was real interesting that you got that video. I was like, oh, I like this one. But where did you get this, or did you just run across it?
Yeah, I think the Facebook algorithm picks up on what I watch
Okay.
and it sent it my way. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, yeah, we definitely got to talk about this, like because it's
Absolutely.
it can
Okay,
feel hopeless, right?
oh yeah, let's
You
talk about
know,
that.
because it's like we're doing all the right things. Why isn't it working? You know, and then women will say those are the things they want, but yet then when we do it, they don't want it. You
True.
know, it's not that what you're doing is wrong. It's that it's all you're doing. There's more to it than just being nice, right? There's just to it than just being kind and loving and sweet. Like there's a whole lot more to it than just that. And the problem is you stay there. Whereas the 11th man doesn't necessarily stay there. You know, and eventually one day we're going to have a conversation about the whole idea of alpha, alpha male versus beta
Oh
male,
geez.
Sigma, and all that. We're going to eventually have a talk about that because
Oh
there's a
geez.
massive misconception there. And ultimately, I'll just say this, give you a little sneak preview. For one, it's a lie. And two, it's pseudoscience. It's not based on any type of real reality. And three, any man experiences all of those things.
I believe in that so much too.
Yeah.
You have to be well rounded. You can't just be one course. I mean, it's good for a persona. It's good for a show. It's good for YouTube and stuff like that. But if you're
Yeah.
a real rounded man, it's like you got to be all of those put together and then also be something else to somebody else at a given time, right? Let's see. We're gonna try and test this out, guys. We're gonna go back to the gallery view and we're gonna share the screen and I'm gonna show you what Doc was talking about. Doc, remind me to stop the share because I just screwed up. All right,
Got
I'm
it.
gonna play this. You can see the screen, right?
I can see it. Yeah.
All right, cool. We're gonna play this, guys. If
And all 10 men telling her how beautiful she is and how amazing she is, and they're lighting her cigarette and buying her drinks and just treating her like gold. Then all of a sudden, in walks the 11th man. He takes one look at her and says, "Hey, how you doing?" Turns his back on her and starts talking to his boys. That's the guy she wants to be with, the 11th man.
All right.
so let me stop the share,
Yeah.
and then we go. Okay, and we talk about this now. So this is where we focus on you, Doc.
So right there, right? So for one, again, yes, I know it's a movie, but just bear with me. Why does she
Absolutely.
always go for the bad boy? Why should she go for the jerk? Why should she always complain about how there's no good guys, but I'm treating her like royalty, da 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 da, all that stuff like that, right? So that's kind of the persona he's taking on in that scene, you know. And then he talks about, oh, the bad boy or the one that's not good for, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, why does he get the girl? Why does he get all the options and opportunities, but the rest of us are doing the right thing? Why are we being left out in the cold? Right?
Right.
Because he's exhibiting confidence. He's like, yeah, no, you're cool. No, hey, how you doing? And that's it. And I keep it moving. Like I'm not, enamored by you. I'm not like, my whole life surrounds you. He's just like, oh yeah, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
How
he's
you
like
doing?
a
Oh,
normal person.
and it's not like he's being a jerk, right? I know we use the term bad boy, but just kind of follow me. Why do even women even go for guys like that? Because They provide what looks like security, right?
Right.
And before when me and Gordon we're talking about when women are talking about, or you hear people talk about like, oh, high value man, he has to be 6'3", make six figure, be in some type of power position or whatever. But a lot of times we think we're trying to meet those metrics, but we all miss the whole mark, right? We miss the mark because it's not about being 6'3". It's not about making a lot of money, and it's not about having nice things or having positions of power. It's about what those things represent to women.
Nice.
Those things represent security, right? And now let's take it even a little bit deeper, right? When someone's confident in themselves and they're confident in their ability and they're able to walk into a room and like, hey, I'm going to be me regardless, that confidence, guess what that is? He's sure of himself. There's security there, there's stability. Women crave security. They crave stability. And that's why, someone who's just like fawning over, and again, in those hopeless romantic novels, it sounds nice, right? But again, it's not real, right? I'm sorry, The Notebook is not reality.
Oh, geez, don't even get me going. No.
Right? It's a pretty decent movie, though. I'll give him that. It was a pretty
No,
decent
it is, but it is.
It's not reality, right? That's not what happens in real life. So in real life, what happens? Like, women want security, right? So they can be safe. Their kids can be safe, and maybe on a biological level, it's like, well, I need to get with the guy that's confident, the 11th man, so my offspring can survive. Maybe it's something evolutionary. I'm not that I believe in evolution, but history, whatever, biology, happened long time ago where that's a thing. So when that 11th guy walks on the scene and he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, I don't really need, I'm not pressed by you or anything like that. She's like, oh, that's intriguing. Let me learn more about this guy because he seems really sure of himself. Because he seems sure of himself, he might be a secure guy to be with. Right? That
correct.
Also, in Gordon, we even talk about this because there's another side of this as well. Even there's some guys that are absolute bums. Absolute bums. They ain't got nothing going for themselves. They ain't got no car. They ain't got no job. They ain't got no money. They ain't got nothing, right? They got false confidence, all these things like that. But then they get the girl.
But
it's like, what? How does that happen? Because of what he's putting off. He's putting off this confidence. Like, yeah, I'm
putting it off.
Him, but he's exuding this confidence. And that's why
false confidence.
False confidence. And that's why you'll see these women who are successful. And it's like, why is she with that guy? He is a bum. Like, we all can see it. But the problem is, he's putting out confidence, right? The 11th man's putting out confidence. And you, while you're being a nice guy, one of the things you're doing are good, right? The thing is, once you have that confidence and you do and be that nice guy, oh, that's heaven for women. So it's not that women want to be dogged out like, yeah, I want that guy to, punch my head and push me through a wall. Like, that's what I want. That's not what they're looking for. They want the whole package. The problem is, it's just that it's the bad guys that are putting on the confidence and it's the good guys that are not. And so therefore we're like, oh, there's no women and nobody wants me. It's like, bro, nah. And if we can be honest with ourselves, Gordon, right? Like, I wouldn't want to follow any man that's not confident either. I'll be 100%
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't want to follow you. Nah, man, I'm good on that. I need someone that's like, hey, we're riding into the gates of hell. And we may not, hey, but we're going to do some damage. I'm like, let's go. Let's go.
Anything to do with the second guessing, the confidence, even when say you're a CEO, you're a businessman, you in gangs, you the leader of the pack in your high school, you're the captain of football team. You got to have that confidence because people like to lead. People like to follow a good leader that can make decisions, can be confident with this, have no self-doubt, even though if you're going to fall off the cliff. Yep. People love confidence, and there's difference between having confidence and commanding it. Commanding confidence and commanding respect. This is what good leaders do. Now, we can get into all that charismatic stuff and all this other good jumbo stuff, but you also got to know the difference because this way, the modern man in today's society lack all of these traits. Because if you watch our previous videos, we talk about these things because everything is a buildup, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can go to Sam Ganji again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was deep. Let's go here. And then
the one guy who couldn't care less. Why? Because For some reason, women don't want nice. They don't want real. They don't want to be treated well. First,
Pause right there, real quick. Pause right there. So, you know, for one, I want you guys to understand, like, and again, nothing against the actor, he's playing a role, but I'm saying that character, that's the victim mentality. That
Ooh,
when guys
victim.
start talking like that, that's the victim mentality.
Yeah, victim.
You know, guys, women don't want nice guys. Women, you know, women, that's a victim mentality. What? Please name a woman who wants to get treated like trash. Name anybody on the planet that says, you know what? My dream spouse is someone who's going to treat me like straight garbage. I want them to cheat on me. I want them to bring diseases home to me. I want them to call me all types of names in the book. That's what I'm looking for. That it turns me on. Come on, who says that? If we stop and get out of our feelings and emotions and that whole victim mentality, if we just get out of that for a second and you think about that logically, who wants that? Nobody wants that. The women that you were being super nice to and couldn't get, but then the other guy was confident, he gets her and treats her like trash. She's not happy. A lot of you guys put in the friend zone. She comes back and tells you how horrible he is. And you're sitting there confused, like, well, I'm right here. I don't know why. Because you're not confident. It's like, oh, you're a great friend, but I can't follow you. I can't submit to you. I can't do that. Right.
Is it based in the physiology of it, or is it based in our DNA?
To be like
Yes,
that.
for women to do that. Is it from prehistoric days where you're going to be the hunter, the provider, the protector, the women going to be the gatherer? But in the caveman days, there's no friend zone because the big caveman guy is going to throw you to the dinosaur to get away. So he can get the girl.
You know?
But I mean, where do you think that stems from? Because it's ingrained.
Yeah. I think it's a number of things, man. I think there's a spiritual aspect to it.
Oh, okay.
You know, where how God has ordered things. I think there's a biological aspect to it, you know, where we have our natural roles, you know, men being leaders, providers, protectors, women being nurturers, amplifiers, and like emotional protectors, and how that works together. I think it all kind of works together like that. So I think it is something that's natural because I've yet to meet a woman that deviates from this template. I've yet to meet a man that deviates from this template.
Mm.
Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter how old you are. The template remains a template. And when we're outside of that, you know, that's a lot of times that's when things start to get kind of rocky. If a man who's supposed to be a leader and the leader's got to be confident and he's not doing that, and a woman needs a leader, because we always want to talk about women need to submit, women need to submit. Well, submission means I trust you enough to lead me, right?
Right.
Because even as we as men have leaders, right? That's why we were just talking about before.
Right.
If our leader's not confident, I'm not submitting anything to him, right? Because I don't trust him. That means we have to be confident. And so again, you know, whether it's, you know, biological, and I think it's societal as well, you know,
Okay.
you know, back in the day. So I think you kind of mush all these together and then you kind of have that working theory of that dynamic. But again, I don't even know you want to call it a theory, right? Because while there's that victim mentality, you know, if you look deeper to what he's saying, he's establishing the standard. He's saying the confident guy gets the girl, right? He's
He's saying it. Yeah.
you know, and it's just true, right? I mean, if you think, even going back to how we talk about confidence and what confidence is, it's doing the thing you said you're going to do. That's essentially what it is. And you know that if I say it, that I'm going to do it. And so you live your life by that standard. So there's stability and consistency there. And so then someone who does that, guess what? They're going to make it further. You know, they're going to take more chances. They're going to be more ambitious. They're going to have more money. They're going to get more resources. And the man that has more resources is going to have more options. The guy that has less, who's not confident, because guess what? The non-confident guy, a lot of times he's not going to make the money. He's not going to get the position. He's going to get passed over for opportunities and jobs and things like that. Sometimes not because he's not good, because a lot of these guys that aren't confident, it's not that they're not good guys. It's not that they're not skilled. It's not that they're not phenomenal at what they do. But if you don't stand up and say something, if you don't stand up and make your presence known, then you get passed by, unfortunately. And so then we end up with that victim mentality of like, oh, woe is me, you know, why it's so unfair. I do all the right stuff. I'm faithful and I'm loving and I go to church and I do all these things, right? And nothing good ever happens for me, you know. But when these other people over here, like they're doing all the wrong things and yet all these great things are happening to them. And the ego and the false confidence, they're not out there riding off in the sunset with, you know, the most beautiful girl in the world. They usually crash and burn. So never look to them as a template anyways. Look to yourself and say, okay, what am I missing? If all I have to do is be confident, then boom, listen, the moment, gentlemen, those of you who are you're not confident, those of you who are struggling with that, I'm telling you this right now, and you're good guys, right? So you're the 10 men. right? You're the 10 men.
Yes.
You're like this close off taking over
All the
everything.
time. All the time.
This close. Because you got the skill, you got the talent, you got the gift, you got the ability, you got the empathy, you know how to connect, you know how to talk, you have all the tools. You are that guy, and that's great. So
But
all you need to do is get that one key, just that one confidence key. Put it in, just turn it, and boom, it takes
now
off.
let me stop you right there, Doc. Let me stop you. I was your client and we're in a
Yeah.
situation. I'm telling you all this stuff that you're telling me right now. How do I do it to have that key to unlock it so that I can become that confident person you're talking about? If I'm missing one or two aspects, attributes, whatever you want to call it, what could I do about it?
Keep your word to yourself. Really, really important. You got to keep, because the thing, you can lie to everybody else, you can't lie to yourself. You got to keep your word. I mean, it requires discipline. If you say, I'm
Okay.
going to get up, I'm going to do the workout, get up and do the workout. Right? See, confidence isn't, it's not as complicated, comprehensive thing. It's
True.
literally doing the thing you said you're going to do. When you're
Take some
not
action.
confident, you
Yep.
don't believe in yourself because you don't believe you're going to do the thing you said you're going to do. You say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, by the end of the year, but you're sitting down on the couch eating Twinkies and Ho-Hos and drinking Kool-Aid with it full of sugar, right? No, of course you're not going to be confident. Of course you're not going to believe in yourself, right? Because you're not doing the thing you said you're going to do. So do the thing you said you're going to do. Keep your word to yourself. And obviously, ultimately what I'm saying is you need to be disciplined. And I got to do this. And then here's another big thing, Gordon. We think, to be confident, I got to do these big things. Like I got to make the next Walmart or the next Nvidia or the next Amazon. I got to do these massive things. If I'm not doing these massive things, I'm not confident. No, if you say I'm going to work out 3 days this week and you work out 3 days this week, you're building your confidence. If you say,
Absolutely.
you know what, I'm going to cut out sugars from my diet, and I'm not going to get any more sugars, you're just building confidence. You know what, me and my wife were talking, and you know what, I don't really take a leadership role like I need to. I'm going to start planning dates once a week. You're building confidence. You're keeping the word that you made and said to yourself. And the more you do that, and the more you see the results of that, guess what? Success begets success. So once you start doing that, your confidence builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, until now it's just like I can, do anything. Now it builds up, and I can now maybe I can start the next Walmart, the next Amazon, the next Nvidia, right? But it doesn't have to start from some big massive choice that you do. Just something, I'm going to make my bed every day. I'm not going to change anything in my life, but just making my bed every day, right?
I mean, it goes to show, because a lot of the times, right? Let me go back to speaker view. Okay, we're going back. Like what Doc was saying, the small things that you do now, if you say you're gonna do it, just do it. Because the process in between, from where you started to what you become, it drives momentum. It drives momentum into the confidence. Then you start taking the chances. Then you start putting your head down. Then you start moving forward. Where you started, where it's like, I'm just gonna leave my shit all over the place. If you take anybody's biography, anybody's success story, anybody's thing that you see from all these guys making a comeback, all have the same story as you. The only difference is they did it. You might be in a different phase of life. You might be in a different phase in a season where some people might be coming and going. You might have to distance some of yourself to gain the discipline you need, because all your boys over here are just all naysayers, negative, and just driving you to the ground. They're your bump stop. They're your pothole. Drive your car into the pothole. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to go out and do your thing and what you have to say. And to become that 11th man, it's not your personality. Gain the confidence. Because next thing you know, you're going to take a chance. Once you take that chance and you see a different result, this is when you're going to take different chances. Now, I'm not saying be like me and take chances, break the law. But
don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But that's where I get all my confidence from, because the experience I have to the journey of process is like it's like certain things that you do within your life that's going to make it better for you. And that's all we want for you. Let's see what Sam Geis has more to say about that.
Yeah, I think we're gonna let him wrap it up this time too, because I think he's coming up to it. Yeah.
I mean, you are a master at it, Sal, but it's just not me. It's not who I am. I don't want to have to play that game, get a girl by pretending that I don't like her. I want to be with a woman who's real, who digs it when I'm nice to her, who doesn't see that as weakness or take me for granted when I tell her that I think she's more amazing than anything else in the entire world. Say there's a woman in a room.
Perfect.
Okay, man.
You can comment on that one because that
Yeah.
hit home.
So that goes back to what I was saying. Like,
Right.
we talked about last week. We don't have to play that game. Like, oh, I'm going to play hard to get. We don't have to do that. And when you're confident, you don't have to do that. So that 11th man, and the way he described him, and I don't know who the Sal character is, and I've never seen that movie before, but it sounds like he's not the nicest guy to women. Sounds like he's one of the ones to smash and dash. Like that's what it
Of
sounds
course.
like.
He's Chad. They call him Chad nowadays.
Yeah,
They call him
right.
Chad.
So with that being said, we're not saying to be like that, right? We
Right.
don't want you to be like that. And that's not what he's saying either. What he's saying is, I just want to be myself. And if I like you, I'm going to let you know I like you. Now, he started to go a little overboard at the end. Like, I want to tell you the most amazing woman in the world and all this stuff like that. Well, let's pump the brakes for a second, all right? Like that, it's a little too much too soon. Let's get to know each other first. But you can say, once you're that confident guy, and that's the beauty of bridging all this together, right? Bridging the 11th man with the other 10, right? The beauty of it is you can go to a girl and say, you know what? Hey, I find you really attractive. I would like to take you out. You can say that,
Absolutely.
You can give her those compliments, right? Again, not being like overboard and like super needy, like, oh, you're everything to me. Oh my God. Like, bro, it's been a week. Chill, man. Like, you calm down, all right? And I think that's when you go overboard, and that's what it can turn, right? Yeah, it's like, why are you? Because the question is, here's the other thing. Let's say if you were married and you were doing that with your wife, or you guys have been together for a long time, you're doing that, fine. You've established that, right?
It still doesn't happen.
Well, you'd be surprised.
That's true too. That's true. I mean,
I've heard many times that people are like, yeah, these people have been married for a long time and they're acting like they're little kids still. So I'm not saying that in and of itself is wrong. That too soon is wrong because it raises red flags for the woman. Like, why does he seem so needy? Why is he moving so fast? So unfortunately, doing too much too soon, makes it kind of uncomfortable. And honestly, you think about it, even vice versa. If you were, dating a girl and she's like, oh my gosh, I love you. I want to have your babies right now. And we got to get married.
That's the same thing.
It's the same thing. And granted, again, move along down the line, a year or so, 6 months, a year. And she says that. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. I want you to have my baby. But you had to establish it in the beginning. So what he's saying is not wrong. You don't have to play the game. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to turn a cold shoulder or ignore you and things like that. You don't have to play that game. Right? You could be very forward and direct and be like, hey, hey, I find you really attractive. I'd like to take you out. You go on the first date and you can say, wow, you look amazing, right? You can say those things. Be confident in that. Women love that stuff. They like
compliments, of course.
Right? But just don't make it
now. Still.
Yeah. But don't make it like you're needy. So what he's saying in that last part, not wrong, right? No, we shouldn't want to be the jerk or the a-hole, right? And then I've seen some guys like that, like, yeah, talk to a woman any kind of way. Like, bro, no, stop.
Be classy.
Stop,
be classy. Be classy.
But at the same time, we don't want to be the guy. It's like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll let her choose for me. And we don't want to be that either, right? Be in the middle, like the guy said. Again, he's like, I want to be the guy who essentially, I'm going to add a little bit in there, but I want to be the guy that's confident enough to walk up to a girl, tell her what I think and what I feel, and just be okay with that, right? I don't want to play these games where I'm going to make it seem like I don't like her or anything like that. And that's what we're talking about here for Boundaries and Brotherhood, where we're teaching you how to have that confidence so that you could be in the middle. We don't want you to be a nice guy, or an incel or whatever else they call them. We also don't want you to be an a-hole or have false confidence and arrogance. We don't want that either. We want you to be a full-rounded man who can command his area, command his circle, command his relationships, command work, command his family life, and command it and truly be a man that's worthy to be looked up to by those who's leading. Like that's what we're trying to do here. And that's the point we're trying to get across.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Are there 10 from your private practice, some stories and stuff? What type of men do you see that come through you to get help? Like if some of our viewers might be watching this later on the replay or something like that, or we're going to chop this up, what are some of the types so they can compare themselves so they know where they start from A to how they can get to become the 11th man? Are there 10 different types, personality types that you're seeing, or what do you think?
I wouldn't say personality types. What I would say, honestly, it's the reason why I would say that there is almost like it's almost like binary. There's almost like two things. You like the 10, you're either the 10 or you're the well, I guess not binary because you can be the middle of it as well. But what I've seen coming through generally is more so the 10 guys.
What are the
Yeah.
10 guys that you see in your private practice that you could help? If I fit in that category of this guy, describe, I would say, if you're this type of guy, number one, what would you, I would say, hate label it, but what are you seeing that get that, if that makes sense?
I would say I'm not a fan of labels, but if I were to say it,
The top 5 types you see in your practice.
yeah,
That's not the 11th guy.
yeah, no, I'd say honestly, just guys to the 10th guy, right? They're trying to do right by the women in their lives. They're trying to do right by people in their lives. Man, a lot of times they just don't feel like it's enough, right? So I would say that. So there's those that are like the overachievers that are doing everything they can and feel like it's not enough.
That would be one. If you're that type of guy, this is who we want to help. What would be
Uh,
another one that you're seeing?
I would
Interesting.
say another type is similar to what he described, where it's like the guy's doing all the right stuff, but things just aren't working out, right?
So number 2 would be you're doing all the right things to get the girl, but you're just not getting that oomph next,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And not even just the girl, too. We're also talking about the career as well.
That's
Yeah,
another
we're
one.
also about career because confidence spans all areas of our lives,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
In relationships, yeah, that's just kind of like the big thing nowadays everyone wants to talk about. But truthfully, confidence really spans every single aspect of our life, you
True.
know.
Yep.
So
That would be another one because the person that might be confident at his job, but have nothing else to give outside of his career.
yeah,
That's a big problem also. And what would be a fourth? Is it the person that just wants to buy their confidence, but is not getting it? You know what I mean? Like you can have some people that have the money, have everything else, but they ain't shit. You know what I mean?
well,
And how does
well,
it work out?
those honestly I haven't gotten a lot of those, but which makes sense though because if
Okay.
they're feeling or thinking that way, they're not going to come to therapy because they don't have a problem, right?
Think they do.
They don't think they do,
Yeah.
right? So they're not going to come to therapy more often than not. They're not going to be. They're probably not going to be watching us, right?
They might also watch for entertainment purposes and to see where they do because you would be shocked at who watches our stuff. It phases me because people be like, man, that stuff you and Doc is so good. I'm like, yeah, I don't see you comment on chat. It's like, oh, I watch your stuff because you guys it's like you got
Yeah.
professional and you got you, Gordon. I'm like, because I don't have a filter. But at the same time, I have the intelligence to kind of finesse it. So
But see,
let me
I mean, like, they're not going to be searching stuff like this out. Guys like that who have everything and think everything is fine. I mean, because it just makes sense. If you think you're healthy, you're not going to the doctor. You're not searching the doctor. It might come across your feed, but
yeah.
your mind has to be in a place to be able to like, oh shoot, I think some of that resonates, or oh man, I didn't think about it like that. But if
But
you're
they could
shut
also
off, like
share it to somebody. They could also share it to somebody. That's what I want.
they could, but I'm just saying, like these, like those wouldn't be I wouldn't assume, and you guys are more than welcome to prove me wrong if you're like, I'm an a-hole and I want to come get your services. Like, we're not gonna say no, right? You need help, like we're here to help you. But I'm just saying, the people who seek out help are the ones who actually are aware that something's going on and something's wrong and that something needs to change. And if
That's
you're
something
not
they want.
aware, and if you're not aware of something being wrong, you could come across something very similar to Gordon, and you might have experienced this in your own life. There's things that my dad told me when I was younger. They didn't hit until I got older. And I was like, oh,
Absolutely.
you know? And
Absolutely.
so it's kind of along the same lines. You could come across a video, right now. And so maybe one of those guys right now, Gordon, is like watching, is like, yeah, this is funny, whatever, or skip past it, but then
But it'll
later
hit.
on,
But
he's
it'll
like, oh,
hit.
shoot, I have a realization. Oh,
Yes.
man, yeah, I remember that from
Yeah.
last year or the year before,
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it as well, kind of blend it all together. But to long answer to a short question, I don't really see a lot of guys like that coming through for counseling or coaching or anything like that.
True.
Not through my practice. I don't see a lot of that.
I only ask for their private practice because it's kind of interesting to see like what type of people come in for the help that actually want the help, but are actually man enough to seek the help.
Yeah.
You mean That's the whole thing. I mean, you might say, yeah, you like you said, you might have a drinking problem and stuff. You know you need help, but you ain't gonna do it.
Mhm.
Right? I might have a situation where I might need, because that's why I tell my wife, right? I tell Angela, like, she goes, you and Doc do your thing. It's like she wanted to go to therapy at one point and said, "Oh, Doc's a couples therapist." She goes, "But he'll side with you because you have something going on." But I actually take all his advice and I apply it, what I mean, to us, because now I'm getting basically free therapy, or because we talk about the stuff. You mean, and this is where it goes for you guys. You guys might think all of this is some fluff, some bullshit, some stuff that might to get, but you don't understand the process I've been through to actually be open to all of this stuff. And this is why me and Doc do this, because you might be in a position where you might be stuck in a corner. Something has to change. You don't have the awareness. You might not have the tools to deal with it. This is why we're going to provide workshops soon. And we just finalized all the PDFs and all the commentary and everything else. We're going to start setting a date. And like I said, we're going to, did we decide which day of the month we're going to do mini workshops instead of this type of commentary?
Uh, Probably do it at this same time. I don't, we didn't even pick a day yet. If I'm not mistaken, I think in our last stream we mentioned that we were going to do it and it was going to be something different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You're gonna hear it first, guys. The last week on the Thursday of the month is where we're gonna do mini workshops.
Yeah.
How's that sound? We're gonna have the layout. We're gonna have the PDF. You can follow along. It's all done. All the workshops are done. We just gotta teach it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna also have the free PDF. We're gonna have the worksheets. We're gonna have that because we want you to get to a place where you can command confidence, not just be confident in yourself.
Yeah.
But let's see how's our time today going on. But no, I mean, a lot of the stuff, becoming the 11th man, is you always want to become the 11th man, but it takes a process. You might be in the phase of, you might be number 1 and number 2 right now. You might be number 3 going into the phase of life. You might be on the verge of having it all together. You might be in the situation and you just need a push, a direction, an encouragement from somebody that's been through the ring, that wants to push you in the right direction. Doc, we had Doc had one that's like, if you ever let a woman go on one knee and marry and you do this, this is what you're gonna get punched in the face. I watched that video again. If you have that problem, guys, please reach out.
Please do.
What's the big promise you give from working with us, both from your professional and from being part of the Boundaries and Brotherhood family, team, supportive group? What's the big promise, my brother?
My big promise to you is that if you're willing to really put the work in, if you're willing to trust the process, and if you're willing to work with us as we get through this, right, your life is going to change forever. That I can 110% guarantee. Right. Now, remember what I said. This isn't, oh, you just sign up. There is work to be done.
Yeah.
I remember I got a comment on a video one time where a guy called me a grifter trying to, I guess, scam people. I'm not mad at him for it. There are countless other businesses and coaching businesses out there that are literally there to scam you. Hey, you come here, I'm gonna make you an alpha male. Like, there's all that stuff out there, and 5 weeks, give me 5 weeks. If you're willing to come here and do the work, if you're willing to submit yourself to the process, if you're truly willing to give it your all, your life will change forever. Forever. Right. So that is my promise to you. If you want your life to change, if you're tired of things being the way they've always been, right, then come and work with us, Boundaries and Brotherhood, so we can get you to where you want to go.
Give the audience some specific problems they might be going through that connects to what you just offered, the big promise. If it's like, I'll give you an example. Are you thinking you're one of the 10 men and you want to become the 11th? Are you figuring out a way that you have to change because the confidence levels you have is not the best relationship builder you have? Are you not feeling yourself as just being yourself and getting ran over at work, right? How is are you getting up every day and wondering where is your purpose and direction in life, right? I mean, it's like my background says, right? Exploring shared challenges, right? And forging unbreakable bonds. It's forging unity and driven by purpose. So this is why I asked Doc, he might promise you this, but this is what we want to cure, right? Be on the lookout, because are you seeing some things that you would like to touch bases on, Doc, that you're seeing out there?
I think you just kind of summed it all up, man. You asked me the question, then you started going on with it. I'm like, nah, just continue.
No,
You
but
got
see, I want that's from your partner side. I want to get your viewpoint on what are you seeing from the professional side that they might, it's like they might talk to me, but like, oh, that's Doc. You might be intimidating. What are you seeing that might bring awareness to them that they might be going through?
Well, that's it. I think you just hit it on the head, man. I guess I could add a couple of things, like feeling like you're not leading your relationship. Maybe you've been experiences where you felt emasculated, right? Being passed over for opportunities that you're qualified for, and you've seen other people who are less qualified get the
Uh,
same opportunities or better. Missing out on opportunities because you're too scared to take a jump, right? You're too scared to take risk.
those are good. I mean,
You don't want to face yourself. That's a big one. I see that one. You don't want to face yourself. Whether because it's a shame or guilt or whatever you want to call it, you don't want to face yourself.
see,
You know,
that's the things you cure right there, Doc. See, you see how even from a professional side, I might say something, Doc might say something, he brings something else from that different angle. I wouldn't even have thought of those. The shame, the relationship, the business, the opportunities. If you're having any of those emotions or feelings and you're feeling like that, this is what this group is going to be for, or this is what it is for. Be on the lookout for more of this stuff. Leave us a comment, guys. This is Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. I'd like to end it this way. Come join us next week, Thursday. And if you want, the site should be up this week. And the pop store, if you want to get one of our PDFs or you want one free, go to a Facebook page. You go to popstore.com/boundaries and brotherhood. Come support us, guys.
yeah. All right, y'all take care. Have a great and blessed week. We'll see you next week. Not right now, though, guys.
Yeah.
Y'all just take care of yourselves. I'll leave you with this though. Find one thing this week, one thing that you can commit to doing every single day. One thing doesn't have to be big, right? It
Yep.
could be making your bed. It could be making sure you put the toothpaste back. It could be cutting out sodas for the week. Whatever. Just pick one thing that you can commit to doing every day. And when you start doing that, you start actually fulfilling and following through on your words, your confidence is going to build. Keep that momentum, and you're going to be like a snowball going down a hill, just building and building and building.
Nice. That was
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
And how can they find you? Freedom, Success, Change. Freedom, Success. I
Freedom,
see it.
change, success. I'm everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, you have my name. You type it in, you'll find me. You'll find me on all the social medias, websites, all that. You'll find me everywhere. So yeah, I'm not hard to find.
Message him on Facebook or leave a comment here on YouTube and you'll be fine. We message
Yeah.
it. Yep. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Aloha. This is Gordon Watt.
You
I'll
guys
see you
take
next week.
care.
All right. Bye-bye.